Let's take a look now at some of the top stories that are making headlines in the business world. Starting first with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, it was slightly weaker this morning with its global peers mixed as investors evaluated the economic risk from the Delta variant. Investors are adopting a more risk-off approach after economic data this week indicated the world's two largest economies had shown signs of short-term weakness. For a more in-depth update on the latest market developments, we're joined now by Mia Kruger, who's Director of Research and Fund Management at Kruger International. Good to have you with us once again this afternoon. If you could talk us through how the markets have been performing so far today.
Yes, so we see the JSE All Share at this stage 0.8 of a percentage point lower. It's really resources driving the market lower, with that index at 3.8% lower this morning. Financials are slightly lower at 0.6 of a percentage point, and then we see the top 40 0.9% lower. Industrials really the only green shoot at this stage, with 1.2% in the green. Old Mutual is tracking the market with 4.88% higher at 16 Rand 11 cents a share, and then Absa Group is on the negative side, leading the top 40 at 3.8% lower at 152 Rand. The Rand is also stronger against all the major currencies. We're seeing the Rand trade against the dollar at this stage at 14.44 and 17.07 against the euro.
We see aluminium looks to have steadied after surging to the highest point since 2011 on Tuesday. What drove those moves?
Yes. So we've seen that the Chinese producers have all been asked to reduce their production. They are the largest producer. They produce about 60% of global aluminium, due to the fact that they are trying to alleviate energy consumption in China, and this is also part of the fact that China is trying to curb their emissions. So we have been seeing the aluminium price steadily rising, just after tin, the strongest precious metal that we've seen over the last 12 months.
Absa's Purchasing Managers Index rebounded in August of 2021 following a record single-month decline in July. Talk us through some of the drivers behind that growth.
Yes, so we see this index, which really measures the production and sentiment, and we've seen a big pullback, as you mentioned, after the looting and the riots in July. So this is really just the rebound from that low level. It is, though, now at the highest level that we've seen for a long time. It has gone through the 50 level, where we're seeing it at 57.9 at this stage, and that is really showing us that there's an expansion when it comes to production. Unfortunately, we need to realize that due to the looting and the riots, we are seeing lower stock levels, which means that production will be higher, just to normalize the activity that we lost out on.
Mia, Deutsche Bank has cut correspondent banking ties with Standard Bank Group's Zimbabwean unit. How significant is this blow, if at all?
Yeah, so just to put it into perspective, Deutsche Bank has actually been retreating from correspondence banking with all the correspondence banks lately, and that is due to a very negative press and fines that they were imposed on after Danske Estonia Bank that they dealt with had some suspicious transactions. So this is really in line with what Deutsche Bank is doing. But unfortunately, it is making it much more difficult for banks in Zimbabwe to bring money out and in. And we see that Standard Bank is still operating that service, but they're now operating it through Stanbic and then through Standard Bank South Africa through that unit of theirs. So it's not really affected the business to such a great extent yet.
We see that vehicle sales for August are expected to rebound. Does this point to a recovery perhaps in the sector?
Well, we've seen very low numbers in the vehicle sales of late, and that's due to the fact that we've got our consumers in South Africa under severe pressure. We've seen that the jobless rate has risen to an all-time high. and that there are various constraints on the economy here. So this could also, due to the fact that we've had the lockdown, we've had people constrain their mobility up until now, just rebound from those low levels. It could purely be that and not really show to an extension of economic growth in South Africa. All the metrics that we look at show that South Africa is still in a very, very severely bad position when it comes to the economic growth here, and that we will definitely have to make a big plan in creating jobs to get it out of here.
Mia Kruger, thank you once again for today's market update. That's Mia Kruger. She is Director of Research and Fund Management at Kruger International.